Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Now, an average consumer invests 3 lakh rupees to go solar, and that is equivalent to buying a car from Maruti, says Neeraj Jain of Solar Solutions startup SolarSquare, while speaking to my colleague Aishwarya Anand on the sidelines of Stride Forward. Take a look at that conversation.
The government has increased the allocation for solar projects from somewhere around 4,700 crores to now 10,000 crores. I want to understand, how does that help a company like SolarSquare?
The investment actually from the government side is 75,000 crores over the next 5 years, and it is just going to make going solar for the consumer a lot easier. And one more thing on that, I think apart from the investment the government is doing, they've made the process of going solar a lot easier. So just to give some numbers here, average consumer invests 3 lakh rupees to go solar, and it is equivalent to buying a car from Maruti. So the biggest thing that the government has helped us is with making the process of going solar a lot easier, and people are willing to invest.
You commenced operations, with the B2B side, and then in 2021 you moved to B2C. So help me understand, what kind of services do you offer?
We still do some B2B, but our primary focus is on B2C. I think taking individual consumers solar is a tougher journey, and I think that's where the bigger opportunity is. It's equivalent to, I think, selling a car to a middle-class family. So I think if we can build that trust, I think that becomes a moat by itself. So I think that's primarily the focus from our side. I think just building the next, equivalent to a Maruti over the next 5-10 years and more.
So, Neeraj, if you could help me understand that, what kind of tech have you deployed? How are you using that? And is AI going to be playing a role for a company like yours? Because, it's now integrated in every sector. So, help me understand if it would be integrated in your sector as well.
Sure. So, just to help, the audience visualize, SolarSquare is the operator of the largest power plant fleet in India. We are today managing above 15,000 individual power plants, because every solar system is a power plant. In 3 years' time, we'll be managing 1 lakh power systems. Nobody in India does that. So how do you manage them at scale and in a very low-cost manner? I think that requires a lot of tech that needs to be built in, and that's why we've raised capital to deploy it upfront, so that when we scale, we can give a very consistent experience to consumers at a very low cost. Because climate change needs to be affordable. So I think all the tech you can deploy needs to be deployed here.
What kind of impact have you created till now? And you mentioned low cost, right? So how are your solutions very pocket friendly for the users?
So I think with the government's push and the financing solutions that we worked on today, a consumer, when they go solar, their EMI is less than the savings that they make. So from day one, the customer is actually making money on solar. This was probably not true 2-3 years back. And now when the customers don't have to invest at all in going solar and making savings, I think the market just in the last 6 months is 7 times what it was in February 2024.
Yeah.
So imagine a $1 billion market becoming a $7 billion market. I think the change from financing and affordability, that is the unlock that can happen.
You've recently raised $4.2 million from Zerodha's Rain Matter, Gruhas and others. Help me understand, where has the capital been deployed?
I think primarily just building talent, process and tech. Like I said, it is equivalent to building a Maruti for us. So to make sure that customer experience is the same all across India, a lot of investment needs to go in upfront. That's primarily just building the reserves, and even more importantly, I think we're in very few geographies today. Scaling pan-India. Just to give an example, we are in 15 cities today. Tata Solar is in 500 cities today. So that's the room that we need to cover. So just geographical expansion is something that will require a little more capital.
So when we're talking about the expansion, how many cities more do you plan on going? Like, if I have to ask you, what's the target for by the end of FY25?
FY25, I think we should be at about 400-450 crores in invoiced revenue. I think from the same cities, and we'll probably expand to new markets in FY26. We should probably double in our geographic expansion, and that too should probably take us to 1,000-1,500 crore revenue scale. So I think the market is very deep. It is about how we scale responsibly.
While the government has been doing a lot when it comes to clean energy in India, help me understand, what are some of the plugs, like the gaps that still needs to be plugged going forward?
I think just government needs to have a very stable policy. I think whatever you decide, don't go about changing it every 6 months or 12 months. I think when people make a big decision for their families, like a 3 lakhs or more, what they want is policy certainty. So I think the government is doing a great job. They just have to stick to it, not get too creative beyond a point. Just, if you've taken a good decision, just back it up again and again. I think lots to be done, but I think let's cheer probably, what has already been done and, good things have taken place in the industry.
Moving on from solar to space,